Last weekend we got the block assembled, and then this weekend we're going to go ahead and put the rest of the engine together. So here's the block with all the pieces and parts installed. I didn't use new bolts. There's a lot of controversy whether or not you have to use new bolts or not use new bolts for the whole engine. And I priced them in the engine. It was going to cost about, I think it was $340 for new bolts for the whole engine. And after doing a bunch of reading and research and reading the actual shop manuals from GM, the only bolts they actually say in the shop manual that you have to replace is the head bolts and then the flywheel bolts. All the rest of them are like a torque to angle bolt as far as I can tell, and the manual says only replace with bolts of the same type. It doesn't say that you have to replace every one of them. So just for cost savings, we're going to try not to replace all the bolts and just do the head and the flywheel, and those are the two that the manual says you have to replace. Hope I'm not wrong on it, but anyhow, they all seem to be fine, and I checked them out, and it seems like I can reuse them. So hopefully the engine doesn't fall apart. But if I were to go by some of the stuff you're reading on the internet, I'd need to replace the rocker bolts, the main bolts, these two bolts here that hold the balance shaft retainer in place, and quite a few other ones. So anyhow, I just did the head and the flywheel bolts because those seem to be the ones that they say, replace with new and throw away and discard the old ones. So hopefully that'll all work. But it's all back together. We've got a torque sequence done and everything hopefully is timed correctly. It went together pretty easy so far and worked pretty well. Over here, and here's the underside of it. It's a neat little engine. It has 2 bolt mains with the side bolts on the side, and they're really sunk deep into the block. So overall, hopefully we'll get the rest of all the accessories and everything put on today while we're working on it. I bought a Engine Tech engine kit for it, and it was okay. The piston rings, one set of the rings were a little bit larger than I would like to have seen them. They were right in the edge of being too large of a gap. So actually, I guess I'd make them smaller. So they were a little short. It would be nice if they were a little bit tighter. One I think was the middle set of rings, which were a little bit loose. But other than that, the engine kit was okay. Their customer service is horrible. Engine Tech, I had a problem with one of the pistons, and they had cut the groove, in my opinion, too deep on the retaining clip that holds the wrist pin in, and so the circlip was almost flush with the surface. And I called them up to try to get some advice on what to do, if I should return the pistons to them, and they wouldn't even talk to me. They only talk to their representatives that sell their parts, and they don't want to help people out that have purchased their products and are actually using it. So I had a little bit of problem with that. I solved it with some different clips, but with no help from them. So I probably won't be buying the Engine Tech engine kit anymore because their customer service is so horrible. But other than that, it was an okay kit. Really, just the rings were a bit of an issue for me, and then the groove being cut too deep in this piston was also a little bit. This is the stock piston, and about half of the circlip, showed out of the groove, and in the remanufactured ones, or not reman, but the new ones, the aftermarket ones, they'd cut that groove a little too deep. So anyhow, it was just an issue. It was solved, but their customer service is horrible. So just to let you know. But other than that, we're going to get all this stuff put on today, and hopefully get this thing running in the next week or so.